stomped.
Well, if you would have saw Friday, you would not have mentioned that. Friday was a disaster. You know, it's a disaster in the term. We have so much technology that's so great that there's also opportunities for it not to be great. Which, remember the days you could fix your own, well, I could never do it, but people can fix their own cars. Not no more. You have to be some sort of a
Computer
genius.
whiz. My granddad was a mechanic, and you know, he was the old Popeye forearm because everything was turning with the, hand. And at 65, he had an engine block drop on his chest, and he caught it, held it, told his men how to get it off of him, and he only had bruised ribs. He was a strong man.
Sounds like every millennial. Yeah, you say that. I'm sorry. I thought I was thinking it.
It's always something.
Someday when I've had a few drinks and we're in private, I'll tell you some stories of my, I'll end it there.
Let's hear them now.
I don't want to get myself in trouble.
Let's break out the drinks. It's early.
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Stories do flow when drinks are there. So,
Just
or
get
on
a
long times.
mimosa time. That's all.
There we go.
go.
Believe me, I want to tell you. All right, so we're at 57. So who's doing anything? Anybody do anything fun over the weekend?
I worked with a group of men and built a wheelchair ramp. It was fun. Those guys, they know carpentry. I was just kind of the runner.
Tell you what, I bet it'd be hard to do a wheelchair ramp. I bet life is hard in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
My
I would
mother's
just go in circles.
Yeah, right. Well, that'd be
that's
hard.
what when you get older, you can other people I know, friends here, they bought a house that is wheelchair accessible before they're in wheelchairs. They're not, neither one of them are in wheelchairs, they're in their 70s, but they're planning on it being there. I never even give it a thought.
Just simple walking's easier when you're walking instead of climbing.
Isn't that
You can
kind
do
of
that here.
thing to fail?
Mountain Drive's not as overwhelming as some other roads, other cities. The Chicago Marathon, that's where they run all the world record times. Nice flat course.
It is so stinking flat. The only hill on it is from 25.9 to 26, where you have to just go up over a little overpass, and then you're on the last 2/10 stretch down the finish concourse, and you feel it at that point. I've run that marathon, I think 6 or 7 times, and you're going along, and it's just the flat will beat you up. Actually, the hills actually use different muscle groups, so you get some variety. So all flat can really hurt. That and the New Orleans Marathon, it's flat.
All right, we're coming up on time. Monday.
Julie, are you in Scottsdale?
Yes.
I'm going to be out there for 2 weeks for an NLP
That's so
conference
easy.
in
When?
Scottsdale. 31st through the 16th of November.
Nice. The weather will be perfect then.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's already cooling down. I think it's like 70 or
Doesn't
so.
take long.
I'm going to
What's
be
that?
Doesn't
We
take
had
long. You go
46
from hot to
degrees.
not pretty quick.
Yeah.
at the Residence Inn, right. I think not far from the Keller Williams office in Scottsdale.
Okay,
So-
folks, we got 8 o'clock, so let's go ahead and start our shoe. Got a really big shoe today. All right, here's the numbers I got written down. Prices in the US since 2020 have increased for houses, have increased 42% since 2020. That's pretty amazing. I think Destin's over 90%. So that's even more amazing. This says you got a lot of equity. folks got a lot of equity in their houses, is what that tells me. Also, if you bought in 22 or 23, you probably don't. Well, certainly if you bought this year, you probably don't. So prices have not gone up much. 22% of all buying in the US right now is being done by people 65 and older. Older folks
Wow.
have money and they're spending it. All right. So if you're selling houses, you better get some ramps in those damn houses, right? Because baby boomers have money and they're spending it. That's why Florida is still rolling, why Scottsdale is probably still rolling, why Texas and other places, well, maybe not as much Texas. Florida and Arizona are rolling because of it. I think Texas and some other places are because of economic factors. But this is a big thing if you live in a place where folks retire to. You better make sure you're capable of talking to older folks. And the other thing that's going to happen here with these older folks, they're not getting loans. They don't care about the mortgage rate. They don't care about anything. They don't even care about the price, which is going to keep prices up. And it'll probably hamper the inflation problem that Jerome Powell is struggling with. So that's something to be aware of. Be nice to older folks. They're it. I mean, they probably got another 10 years. And I don't know how long your careers are going to be, but the next 10 years are going to be impactful one way or the other. Better be able to deal with these folks. Okay. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about before we got on here this morning, or you got anything to add on that, Jeff? Do you have any thoughts?
No, it's good.
The other thing I want to talk about real quick is, because I'm feeling it and we talk about it here all the time, and we're talking about 10X is better than 2X, unless you're talking about wives. I just had to put that in there, right? Anyway,
Or
10X
husband.
is easier than 2X because you're going for these big goals and you rewire your thinking. Totally get it. But here's my thought on a lot of this right now, especially this time of year when I know around here they're pushing bold and I push, and I'm getting pushed all the time. And it feels like that. And I remember when the market was rocking and rolling, we're doing, I don't know, what do we got to 150 some million in sales for a year, which I mean, in most cases is pretty good, but it didn't feel that good to me. All right. It felt like, oh my God, we didn't get 160. And where we did 252 transactions in a year, is like, okay, that's cool. Why didn't we get to 260? And it was all that stuff, just work, more, grind. And I'm about it. I'm about that. All right. I also know though, that sometimes, and Jeff, I think you and I were talking about it, with what's his name? Who's our motivational guy, Mark?
Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn. He said, if I would have known the price I had to pay, I wouldn't have done it. Which is interesting because he's a motivational guy. He gave up his family and he gave up a lot of stuff. He married a few times, all that stuff. So what I want to do today is I want to take a pause a little bit. When you grind, again, I'm for it. It's what I do. I respect, admire all of it, right? 10X, let's do 100X, whatever. But at the same time, we got to hit a pause button once in a while and take a look around and remember why. Why are we working so hard? Why do we have so much money? Why do I get up early and stay late? Why? Because your kids aren't going to care. Your spouses aren't going to care. The people you care about aren't going to care. Your lender might, your coach might, your coworkers might. But at the end, and you make sure you leave some time for yourself too, right? We work so hard, and I can't. I'm trying to decide, because people ask me from time to time, "What do you do for fun?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Well, what do you do for fun? Well, I like to grow my business. I know, but what do you do for fun? I'm like, grow my business? Yeah, I know, but after that, we do grow my business. It's just, and it's what I do. I don't golf. I used to run. I don't run anymore. But I think I genuinely find happiness in there. I like growing my business because my business is my people. And when they grow, I get excited about it. So that's cool for me. But what I want y'all to do today is think about that a little bit. I want you to, here's your homework, write down the reason I work so hard is blank, right? Why am I doing this? Why am I crushing myself every day? Because what happens is we get in the routine, grind, and you got to get in that routine or else you can't. But it just can't be a march. You got to understand the music and enjoy the music. And for me, I know when I take a pause like this, it usually comes when I'm working really hard and I got 1,000 things. I feel like my legs are going to buckle. I take a pause and I look around and say, oh, okay, I get it. That's why. And it gives me the strength and the confidence and the courage to keep going. And I want you all to know that you need to do that on your own too. Look around, right? Why am I going to Bolt? Why am I doing this? Why do I get on this call in the morning? Are my knees going to buckle? Am I falling under the weight? You're not. You're just getting tired mentally. Just look around and make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and that you're comfortable with it, right? You got anything on that, Jeff?
Sure, a whole bunch of things. So for you, John, I want to tell you, you should, one of your big whys, what you do for fun is trying to help others. You don't even realize it, but that's your fun, right?
Yeah, it's
This
super
call,
cool.
what you do with your 15-year-old, I saw that podcast. But I struggled with this most of my life, this big why thing. But and I just wrote down a whole, I think it moves so much depending on your age. So for me, it's be like,
It does move. That's important. It's not a cement. It's not a tattoo on your arm. It moves.
I mean, your big why could be make money, time with family, have a better schedule, learn more about real estate, helping others, profit share, retire sooner, vacations and travel. I mean, just write all these things down. And then you try to pull the family one became the big one for me, is to leave a legacy for the kids and the grandkids, right? So, and that's, ask yourself, like, what gets you up every day? And this big why is a big deal. And then as far as taking a breath, I did the vacations, like every 6 or 8 weeks, I have to be going somewhere to get away from it for a minute, because I feel like the job and chases me sometimes when I'm getting fatigued. I feel like I'm running and the job is
There's no doubt.
ahead of, yeah. So that's all.
And here, let me add on that. It's not always about money. When you're younger, it needs to be about the money because you're young, you're energetic. You need to bank money when you're younger, because you'll make your older experiences way better. But remember, it's a moving target. And here, I think money is the basic foundation of it all, because if you have the means, you can do a lot of stuff. Money will buy you time, right? Because you're not at work. It'll buy you experiences. It'll buy you all that. There's no doubt. So everybody's got a money problem, but I also know I know a lot of people who have a lot of money that aren't happy, right? And I know people who have not much, but they're totally content and happy. So you do you, right? Don't compare yourself to somebody else who, in their checkbook or their experiences and their whatever. Like I got people, why don't you golf more? Well, here's why. I don't like golfing. Right? Oh, why don't you like golfing? I don't know. Why don't you
I'll
like
tell you, my hands get sore and my back hurts when I do.
Yeah, whatever, right? It's not for everyone.
I don't score well.
You need to find the reel of the guy who's saying if golf was being presented on Shark Tank, it would never get funded as it was just created.
Yeah, right. So all that stuff. So let's talk about money for a minute, because this is a passion and a crusade I'm on. I want to get everybody owning an investment property that throws off cash and has somebody else pay for it. And I think the reason why everybody doesn't have that is they don't think they have money. They don't have enough money to do it. And I'm going to push back on that and say that's a knowledge problem, not a money problem. And that you need to work harder on getting the information on where to get the money. Because I happen to know for a certainty there is money out there. We did a podcast on Friday. I got another one tomorrow about that exact topic. because I'll tell you what, guys, it takes a lot of pressure off you financially when you have a second source or third or fourth source of income that isn't you. You get these little money machines spinning around out there. It's super cool. And the sooner you get in on that, the younger you are on starting that, the more better that is. All right. So don't use I don't have enough money as a crutch. Change that to I don't know how to do it, and then go find it. All right. It'll be a better win for you. The other thing I want to push, you got anything on that, Jeff?
If you want to identify that, you could get a personal financial statement from any bank, and it post your assets and liabilities, and you'll find out how much you have. Truly, not a guess.
And be careful. Net worth is a fine thing, but cash flow is better at this point, because that's going to allow you to live. Net, your net worth or whatever is great, but unless you sell that crap off, it's not worth much, right? That's paper money. Cash flow lets you get the dessert, even though you don't want it, and you eat it anyway. So think about that. If you need help with that, let me know, because I can help you out with that. But that's a knowledge problem, not a money problem. Here's the other thing I want to push at you, and we talked about a little bit earlier. I think so many of us get wrapped up in the past, what happened to us good and what happened to us bad. I was the #1 agent in my market center, in 1977. All right, awesome. It's not that anymore. Or, look out, here I come world in 2077. Yeah, it's going to be awesome, but that's not now. So what I want you to do, kind of like we talked about, take a minute while you're working so hard. But I think we need to enjoy, Jeff, hell, we were just talking about this. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy where you're at, and be where you're at when you're at it. There's a time in your day, in your week, in your month, your year, or whatever, when there's planning, when you got to think of the future, no doubt. But you should spend more time in the here and now than you do in the past and the future, because I know so many people who aren't here that used to be, right? And they left before they planned on it, right? And I know so many people who are still here, but are living in the past or the future, and that ain't right either. So enjoy the minute, the moment, the right now, the where you're at. Think about all the crap that's happening in Israel right now and everywhere else and all this stuff. Be appreciative of where you live, and what you do for a living. And this brings me right back to the last thing, and then Jeff, I'll let you go back here again, but be very careful about comparing yourself to other people's dreams. Their dreams are their dreams, right? Your dreams need to be yours. And when you start comparing yourself, and be careful on that, is all I'm saying. Now, you can compare yourself to somebody you admire and you want to do what they're doing or whatever, and use them as a milepost, but don't make it a competition. They're doing this, so I can do that. That's a scary
That's
spot.
good advice.
You got
Very
anything to
good
add on that,
advice.
Jeff?
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story. I was a young kid, married. We had probably 2 kids at the time. Bought my first house, and it was tight. And anyway, people across the street are buying Porsches, and I don't know, had all these fancy cars and all this stuff. I thought, how in the world are they doing that? And I started doing that comparison thing. And one night at 3 a.m., the repo man came in and drug the cars out of the driveway. And so that's the bold law. Don't compare your insides with other people's outsides.
Yeah.
That's
Here's
a
the
really
thing.
good thing to say.
We're all playing our own game, right? They're playing one game, you're playing a different game. So don't play by the same scores. Different, right? A low score in golf's a win. It's not going to play very well in bowling.
Well, I like what you say. Just do you.
Yeah, do you.
Yes.
So now here's the thing. Before you start doing so much of you that you forget about, you have to do the work, right? There's a trade-off on all of it. All I'm saying is, make sure you understand why it is that you're working and you appreciate what it is you are actually creating, right? Sometimes we forget about all the good things we've actually done and created and are experiencing. for want of more of it. Okay, so just be careful on that. But you cannot not work. All right, I've seen that played out too many times. Here's where the big win is, guys. When you work really, really hard, work hard, play hard, right? Work really, really hard, get good at it, get consistent at it, get all that stuff. But always, always, always remember to enjoy what you've created. Too many people get lost in that. I got 500 million gazillion dollars. Awesome. You're unhappy because you need 600 gazillion million trillion dollars. Then what's the point of it all? Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's a win is enough.
yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe you need more. That's cool. I'm not being judgmental. But I can also tell you not enough is not enough. So just create try to create something. And I've also found this out. The younger you are, the more you should be focused on earning as much of this as you can, because this will start earning money for you unless you don't have any of that. All right. So I'm back to, I wish I would have saved more, made more, focused more, all that stuff when I was younger, such that that wealth would have accrued earlier. But, I'm glad I am where I am now. I'm just telling you younger folks on here, start sooner than later. All you middle-aged, start sooner than later. All you older folks, start sooner than later. You understand what I'm saying? Sooner than later? Okay. Jeff, you got any more on that?
Start now. Yeah. I talk about, my goal was $3 million. I figured minimum that I needed. But the reality, and I heard pushback on that really, but the reality was I was looking for $100,000 in cash flow, spendable money annually. That's what I was really looking for. So right now, 5% of X equals 100,000. So what's that? 2 million. So if you have 2 million and you
That's
had
assuming no
$2 million,
taxes. Assuming no taxes.
Assuming, yeah, depending on where you're living, but $2 million or 2.5 million in a 5% CD.
Bad for you.
Boom. I mean, when
What
you
did Don
think
say?
she's not muted.
Okay.
So that's what I was trying to create. How much cash flow is my wife going to need to spend when I retire? That's a joke because we both spend it together. If it was up to me, we'd probably be broke and living in a mansion, everything we're talking about. But my wife keeps us under a budget. So
Yeah.
that doesn't happen.
It's important. As long as
But
you're
cash-
happy. That's
But
all
the
that
cash
matters.
flow, that's it. I think set a goal for amount of cash flow you want to have. I turned 68 yesterday, you get into retirement when
Happy
you're
birthday to you.
in that mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all. Just trying to feel safe with enough money annually to live the way I've always lived here towards the end. That's it, John.
All right. So guys, before we sign off here today, guys and gals, why am I working so hard? And this isn't a challenge. Yeah, no crap. So I should stop working. Why am I working so hard? It's about your why. This is not an opportunity to stop working. This is just to get you to remember the reason I work so hard is. You got me? So cool. There you go. And so let's go work hard. Right? Let's go. It's Monday. Big start. Let's have a good week. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Bye. See ya.
Bye.